ejebo eja enya babedu na etivo da no ni kohwe eye isi Collaboration Center setifo ehonum aye de bruta anya asam kitwa na Nigeria na eye MVP amanyuku no led by Dennis Miracles Abwaje at the press conference change at the say Sammy Gyamfi aka che NDC supporters some polling center some question abato no mo kenka abato na eye NDC eye MVP amanyuku so sa eye the same thing nam so some kenka supporters so sa enko no kenkan nko husina mo kenkan eye abato results no na say for eye isi so sa the same beto do asentin kwa asema NDC amanyuku ne edi na sanso na MP amanyuku ne enjai na mo to mbas na mo kankan results na finally emba bot na bibia enko yenu ti SMP ne kuno kuti nkoma ekoso hono bramda mu
the copy and sum it and then move it from there and bring it to the center, which is the electoral commission here in Accra, and they put together 16 coalition results and we have our elections called. And so it's baffling, extremely baffling to have the NDC behave the manner in which they are behaving. They continue to also peddle some falsehood. Somewhere around 4:30 p.m. thereabouts, the NDC held a press conference and they are saying that the NDC organizer in the Ashanti region has discovered 500,000 ballot papers, which they claim are ballot papers that they have discovered being hidden by the MPP. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a complete falsehood. It's a complete lie. It's a falsehood. All we saw in that video is Joseph Yamin, the organizer of the NDC in the Ashanti region, holding his own phone, having a camera placed on him by his own people in a certain room with no resistance. No owner of the room, no owner of the house, not a single person they met in the room accustomed, standing and having a conversation, cheerfully telling somebody that I've discovered ballot papers. Our checks indicate that, first of all, the room they claim they discovered those ballot papers are not even at the location they indicated. Number two, these are actually ballot papers that Yamin himself took to the Ashanti region for whatever reason. Remember, they had already given some of these ballot papers to the youth organizer of the Atwima Kwama constituency. The police had already issued a statement on that. We showed a video earlier on, and maybe before I conclude, I'll show that video, where the son of the constituency youth organizer of the Atwima Kwama constituency was arrested by the Ghana police. For attempting to stuff a ballot box with 79 ballot papers. These ballot papers were part of the ballot papers that you saw Joseph Yamin standing by. What had actually happened was that Joseph Yamin realized that he had 30 minutes for elections to end, and he had not been successful to execute that task that had been given to him by his party. And so to save his face, he all of a sudden goes on video using a selfie and telling the whole country that he's found some ballot papers that belongs to the MPP. That's an outright lie. It's a complete falsehood, and it's something that everybody should disregard. We are calling on the Ghana Police Service to investigate to the latter that video that Joseph Yamin has put out, because they are an absolute threat to the stability of this country. They do not show us the number of the alleged ballot papers. We never see it. We only see some brown boxes or brown papers, in a corner. They do not tell us the exact quantity that they have, because you have the deputy spokesperson of the flag bearer of the opposition party indicating on her Facebook post that they have discovered some 300,000 ballot papers. Then Joseph Yamin says 500,000. Then another NDC person says 400,000. So it tells you the kind of people they are and what it is that they are doing. Again, we do not see any MPP official in the video. So think about this. Joseph Yamin, for some reason, has magic. Identifies a building that has ballot papers, goes into that house, and there is nobody in the house. Joseph Yamin walks into that house seamlessly. The Joseph Yamin we know has a suspicion that there is a ballot paper hidden in a house, would start recording himself from the road before even getting to the gates, before walking into the room. Strangely, Joseph Yamin switches off his phone or his video, breaks into whichever house, opens whichever door, gets into a room, and then only begins to record himself inside a room. These guys really take the entire country completely as fools. because it doesn't just add up. The same Joseph Amin gets into the room before inviting media. This Joseph Yamin we know, having picked intelligence that there is some ballot papers hidden somewhere by the MPP, will call the media, call police, and walk in there with them before he even puts a video on himself. He doesn't do any of these things. Again, we only see him in the corner with a video on himself. Now, you've discovered some 500,000 ballot papers in an MPP stronghold, and then the only evidence you show us is a selfie of yourself in a room having a conversation with somebody excitedly, telling the person that you've discovered some ballot papers, and then telling us that you are now calling police to come and do whatever it is that you're expecting them to do. We all know the reasons why the NDC are behaving this way. Everybody in this country knows that this is not the first time we are going through this. Unfortunately, as a people, we have to deal with being inflicted with this every single election period. The NDC are clearly losing these elections and they know it. As we speak, the elections have already been counted at the polling stations. Every political party has copies of the pink sheet. They know it. They know very well they are losing these elections, and that is why they would call for havoc. We are winning these elections as a party. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is winning these elections, and that's why we are saying that let's protect it. If we are winning, why would we want the electoral processes to be disrupted when we are winning? And so, I'm sure a lot of you recall the story in the Bible. I think it's a Solomon story. The story of the two rival women, where they went to sleep, woke up in the morning, and one of the babies are dead. Now the king calls these two women fighting over the living child. And then he says, why are you fighting? He said, this is my child, this is my child. Then the king says, okay, no problem, bring me a sword. This is the living one. Cut the living child into two so that you can all have a half of it. Now, you remember, the woman who knew very well that the dead child is her said, yes, kill the baby. Kill the baby. Now, the woman who knew that this child is my child, and because he's my child, I don't want the baby dead, said that, my king, if you would please her, give her the child. All this woman sought to do was to make sure that her child does not die. But the other lady that knew that she was guilty, knew that she had already lost her child, was willing for both of them to lose their children. That's exactly what the NDC are doing. They know they've lost. They know they are nowhere near victory in these elections. And that is why they would irresponsibly call on their supporters to move towards the coalition centers, to disrupt the coalition centers. Already, we have heard of incidences in some of the constituencies. We saw some on TV, when some NDC persons were somewhere in Dansoman, breaking through the coalition center and basically attacking security services. What is this? At the coalition centers, you have your agents. Why do you want to go and destroy ballot papers and disrupt the electoral process if indeed you are confident that you have won these elections? Why? Why would any political party that is willing and ready to lead this country, why would any political party that is very, very clear in his mind that he has won this election want to disrupt these electoral processes? We will not allow that. Just as we've told you from the get-go, throughout the process, we